But joining us here on TSB is a man who, well, if I say his name, you won't know him, but when you hear his voice, you'll probably know him. He is the voice of not just many companies, but many brands across the UAE. He's working as an entrepreneur, and he's also got a very special project in regards to education and teaching of voiceover and certain audiovisual programs. It's an honour to welcome into the studio Ahmad Haffar. Thank you very much for joining us here on TSB.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys have an excellent energy. The place is beautiful, and I can completely understand why people love listening to this show. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Well, interview's over. That's all we need to say.
This was supposed to be the last line where you finish off on a high.
Nah,
then,
I'm a dude who just keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. So yeah.
I mean, that voice that you've got is just incredible. We know you can't specifically talk about some of the places that you do work for, but what made you get into voiceovers? How did you get into it at an early age?
I got into it at around the age of 22, 23. I'm 28 today because I became partner in a company that is an audio production house called Mindloop Studios here in Media City. That I have worked very closely with my business partner Ahmad, the founder, on rebuilding the company into a brand new vision. And during that time, one of our main services, voiceover, and I had to find a way to, save some money for the company so it can have enough money to breathe. So I started suggesting myself to clients because I just saw a lot of people doing it, and I sort of taught myself music beforehand, which I'm also very known for. I'll speak about a bunch of brands I've made the music for recently and in the past 10 years or so. And I just started pretty much telling all the clients, you know what, guys, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. But then it went completely out of control when I started creating different tones for different brands as I sit down with them and help them come up with the tone of voice for their audience, what they need to do. So it's way beyond just doing a job. And that's why some brands I'm the official voice of, and other brands you've heard me on it.
Interesting. Now, when you say, trying to convince the client on being the voice of the brand and having that special tonality, it's not very easy to, have a straightforward mindset. I'll tell you why. Because, for someone who's been in the agency part of life in my earlier career, to explain the client that, listen, this narrative or this kind of a brand campaign will work for your brand itself is a tough nut to crack.
Yes.
Let aside telling them, listen, this is the voice that your brand should have. How did you do that?
I developed a lot of relationships with some of the biggest agencies around the Middle East for a very long time. And bit by bit, due to the hard work that I put in, due to making sure that their deliverables are done on time and everywhere in between, I sort of got to a point where I made them a deal they cannot say no to. And this deal was sort of like putting ahead of what they've already done for many, many years, studying that data, the raw data, and then coming up with multiple different types of tonalities when it comes to a male voice and also a female voice. I've made some people, for example, Gemma Saxton is known as the voice of Rick Sauce now, as she is the one who's on the phone in their sonic branding, the music that I did for Rick Sauce, amongst many, almost everything that they do within their hotels. And that's because I sold them on the idea of what her voice can do for the audiences that they seek for. This is based on the many, many years of experience that I've done with a lot of brands from before. And other than being the official voice of certain brands, like for example the Dubai Opera, when you go in there, every single voice you hear is me in English and Arabic. I'll give you guys a bit of a sample,
please,
and you'll see how it's a little bit different. So when it comes to, for example, the English, this is the Dubai Opera. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dubai Opera. What was it? In respect of all of the artists or whatever, please make sure to not use your phones within the show, and the usher will be guiding you to your seat. So please, this and this and this and that. And then in Arabic, it's a very different voice. It goes like, السيدات والسادة مرحبا بكم في دبي أوبرا نود أن نعلمكم. And then it continues on there. So I have a little bit of the nasal, but I make sure that it's also between here. So it's that mixture of those that sounds perfect for the kind of audiences that are always welcome in the Dubai Opera. And just like that, I have a lot of different examples. But what makes me quote-unquote the official voice of something is when we have a contract in place that for X period of time, they're not going to use anyone else for English and Arabic that requires a male. That's what, the term voice of Dubai and how I won it and all of that is based on the innovation that I had in different tonalities on a marketing level with different brands and achieving all of these projects in just a few years.
It's quite strange. I found how different countries want different sounds with their voiceover.
Yep.
Certainly, coming from Australia, the voiceovers in the 1960s and 70s were very much wanting a situation of authority, almost the voice of God.
100%.
And so much more now, people are a big, ballsy, deep voice. In Western countries, no one wants it.
Yep.
They want someone that's just sounds like someone else on the street.
Yeah.
And a really friendly, more, hey, how you going? What's happening there today? And have a more conversational style. But here it still seems like people still like that
They like
real
that
sense of
trailer,
authority.
that trailer voice. But even with your voice, like right now, as I'm hearing you talk, the way that you're spacing out your sentences, I can literally imagine what sort of brands you would fit for absolutely perfectly.
Okay, well, I'll give you my agent's number.
But really, it's like it makes sense when you think about it from a marketing point of view, because as you know, like with most voiceovers, they get a brief with what's required. With me, I sort of go to the client, I give them the brief, I give them it's just a completely different atmosphere that I've been involved in. And it started off mainly just to, again, like support my company as much as I can for it to grow, but it just went completely out of control.
Yeah, there is a lot of great credit that you've got being, as you said, you're an entrepreneur, you're in your late 20s, you're a really great to buy story of people that can come here and make something. But more importantly, you're also giving back. Talk us through what you're doing with the education in regards to voiceovers.
Yes. So basically what happened was there's a very, 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 very specific voice that you hear from a very specific bank that I am responsible for. It is a female voice. I can't say more than that.
You're doing the female voice?
No, it's someone who came to me, who told me, you know what, we're happy to collaborate with you on marketing, who worked in the marketing in this bank. But she went to me and she said, I want you to teach me how you do what you do. So from that point on, I decided, you know what, it's going to be good business for my company, so might as well do it. From there, I developed a program that was supposed to be an 8-week program that's specifically customized for her personality. And halfway through, we redid it from zero as I realized that I can even make it like more personalized for her. But from that point on, I started creating these programs that are customized for each and every person based on their personality and their character, and also connect them in the market, not just only for voiceover, but at the moment for voiceover and audio, and then later on for video and photography by end of next year.
Wow.
And the company is launching in the third of on the third month of next year. At the moment, they're running as internship programs, sort of, but when they're going to be full-fledged, is going to be under the name of On the Field Academy, which if you follow my Instagram, the Voice of Dubai or Ahmad Haffar official, you can stay posted there for when it's going to come. But we're extremely happy to say around 72 people have already exited and are working people in the entire field of the world, not just based in the UAE.
Well, that's really amazing. I mean, it's not very easy to create people who do essentially what you do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're trying to, how do I put it in simpler ways? You are trying to create competition for yourself. Or if you look at it another way, you're trying to build a community of people who will probably essentially increase, your own database.
It's the value of where the world is heading. For me, I'm a school dropout. I don't have a high school degree. I don't have a university degree. I have absolutely nothing. I've made myself from zero because of the love that I had. And voiceover was the last thing on my mind. For me, I'm a musician, first and foremost. I play around 6 instruments since I was around between 9 years old to 16 years old was the main part. And I was actually kicked out of a music school.
Why?
And I swear to God, I don't like music theory. I'm not a fan of music theory, and I was more or less, I wouldn't say the word forced, but I was definitely told to follow a certain step, which I didn't. I was 13. What could I know at that time? You know what I mean? But because of that, I developed this character because of, well, my favorite musician of all time, I don't know if you guys are into electronic music, but his name is Aphex Twin. And Aphex Twin is an electronic musician who pretty much made himself from zero. And he did not follow any rules. And I've been a big fan of him since I was 15 years old. And because of him, I decided to follow my own road. And I started teaching music on an emotional level, which then came into what I am now building in my educational platform that is opening up both locally and internationally by giving power to people. And I wouldn't really call anyone to be a competition, because at the end of the day, I am the voice of Dubai, and that's it. It's that set in stone and moving forward. I don't have to keep repeating something for the next 2 years. Oh, I'm the voice of Dubai. I don't really care. I achieved this by innovating a certain product that already existed since the 90s in my own little way. People liked it, and moving forward. So I don't like staying in my place for longer than 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I appreciate what I appreciate, and I just move on.
That definitely
incredible
makes a lot
story.
of sense,
I mean, given that story, for someone who's, well, not just wanting to get into voiceovers, but someone who has got a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit, what advice would you give them coming through?
I would definitely say focus on who you are in the core. Don't worry about competition or what other people are doing. Don't even look up what other people are doing. Understand that the people who give you these opportunities are normal people who are just like you and me. Everyone is a normal human being. If you want an opportunity, just put yourself in the right place by believing in what you can do.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, maybe it's not meant for you. Just accept it and move on. I personally wanted to be a chef when I was a kid. I wanted to be multiple things, and I didn't know if that was going to be the right route. But music was and always will be the foremost thing that I focus on. I don't know if you guys know this, but my biggest specialty in what I focus on is sonic branding, the music for brands.
Right.
And I've made the music for approximately 51 brands and rising, thank God.
Wow.
And you know my work from Barakat, you know my work from Brands for Less, you know my work from insurancemarket.ie, the super annoying one. How can I make a 3-second melody that gets stuck in your head?
Insurancemarket.ee.
Yeah.
We all do it.
It's the way that I come up with the signature sounds that you guys are hearing all over the UAE, Saudi, Lebanon, Qatar, UK, and everywhere in between. Some of my projects are worldwide, like Rixos. Every single Rixos on the planet has my music on the phone, on the ads. It's the same music.
I mean, that kind of sonic branding, I think if people are unsure what Amin is talking about, a great example of that are like the chimes that you hear when you open your computer with Microsoft and those kind of sonic brandings and things.
Or you have the one that a studio here in Dubai produced back in 2008, the Do one, the original one, the do. I don't know if you guys know. They produced that back in 2008, and it was a hit immediately, even when the market wasn't ready for sonic branding. Some people are just innovators. They're forward thinkers. You know what I mean? And this is what I did. I just took it to my own way, because I make music from a very scratch, custom sort of way. Well, when you listen to Barakat, it's just the Barakat. It's just something about it. It makes you want to have juice.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But then, I'll go back a little bit. Britannia, one of the brands, came up with their Sonic was created, ting, 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 and that was created by an Indian agency.
Yeah.
And this was probably, 2000, early 2000 maybe?
See? Yeah.
Early 2000. It still stays on, and that agency charged Britannia for that ting, 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 only 4 notes on the keyboard.
Yeah, I don't want to know the price.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
If I'm converting it right, it was about approximately $1.5 million dirhams.
Wow.
Okay, 1.5 million dirhams.
Can I be honest about something?
Yes, please.
That's not even expensive.
I'm talking about early 2000, late 90s,
I'm
early
telling
2000.
you, today sonic branding, like if you come to me and you're like, Ahmad, I want you to produce sonic branding for me, obviously a trillion things go into the details, the size of the company, the usage, are they gonna own it, the royalties, how many adaptations, yada. But when you've heard me on, say for example, Etisalat Switch TV, like the way I created that, from the vibe in it to the utilization of the what's it called, the old TVs, right? Like they make this noise, the static noise,
right?
And because it's Switch TV, I use the CH to be the static noise,
like the white noise you would.
There you go, exactly. The white noise that's utilized in TV is the CH. So Switch TV. And the way I delivered that, it's just, you hear it and you're like, yeah, this is timeless. This is straight up timeless. And that took me 5 minutes to come up with, but to implement took me a month.
Right.
So people think these 4-second jingles are like easy, but that's the thing. Jingles are things that are made for ads. You make a song for a specific TV commercial, but when you make a sonic branding, you're making the identity music for a brand for the next 10 to 15 years.
Look, you've got an incredible story. We're out of time, but we could get you in to talk about so many facets, whether it's your music or your sonic branding, or to play some of the most famous jingles that we've really grown up with here in the UAE. You know, as the Voice of Dubai, is that your best Instagram account if people want to follow you? Voice of Dubai?
Yeah. We opened up that account around I think around 6 months ago, and we are going through refurbishing. To be extremely honest, I didn't really care about my social media for the longest time. I now have a team that handles it. We're working on the verifications and everything. I didn't really see the value in it before, because to me, I never really wanted to be known, if that makes sense. I didn't really care about like, oh, this and this and that, you know. For me, it's all about doing the job, making the clients happy, and making sure that everyone is enjoying what they're doing, while I keep focusing on what matters the most, which is innovating. Nothing matters more. People will know what I've done, regardless of what I say. And no matter like what 37, 38 brands I voice, some of the biggest in the Middle East, I don't have to go like, oh, I'm this and that. Yes, there are other people who have done it. Yes, there are other people, but like the way I deliver is what matters. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this is for me, for having me on Talk 100. Do I say 100.3?
Talk 100.3.
100.3. Okay, so check this out. When you walk in Talk 100.3. You imagine the world coming in a way where it's smaller and bigger at the same time. Because here, talking is what brings you first. And here is where you bring yourself in a way like you've never known. And this is why we put it together. Because it is a lot. Together matters. There you go.
Oh, wonderful.
Brilliant.
Wasn't that absolutely sensational? To Ahmad Haffar, you can check him out, the voice of Dubai. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you, sir.
You're a great story, and it's great to have you on Talk 100.3. Thank you.
Always ready to. Have a good